Todd Chrisley painfully speaks out about Nic Kerdiles' death. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another video. I hope everyone's having a great day. Before watching the video, please subscribe and like it. Todd Chrisley has spoken out about Nic Kerdiles' death 2 years after he passed away. This was hard for Todd to talk about. He actually did not want to talk about it at all. However, he knew he needed to, as painfully as it was. Nic was engaged to Savannah and very close to the Chrisley family, so this death was hard on them all. Keep reading to find out more about this situation and what happened. Nic Kerdiles sadly passes away 2 years ago. Nic Kerdiles was engaged to Savannah Chrisley. Their relationship was one of the best she had. Her entire family loved him and wanted them to be together. However, they ended up calling off the wedding after the relationship had run its course. This was hard on the family, as they loved him like a son already. About 2 years ago, Nic sadly passed away in a motorcycle accident. He ran a stop sign, got in a wreck, but sadly did not make it out alive. This was extremely hard on the Chrisley family as they loved him dearly. Todd has not talked about his death until now. Todd Chrisley painfully speaks about his death. Chrisley has painfully spoken out about Nic Kerdiles' death for the first time. He felt like he did not owe anyone to talk about this besides Nic. It was hard for him to speak about, and he said this would be the one and only time he would say something about the situation. Out of respect for the love that we have for him, I will tell you, it was the hardest thing that I have ever dealt with in my life. For those of you who don't know, Nic Kerdiles was one of the finest, funniest, kindest young men, and I so wanted he and Savannah to be married. I wanted grandchildren, and that didn't come to pass. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of him. I think I still grieve what could have been because I had always hoped that they would find their way back. Chrisley also revealed that when Savannah and Nic broke up, that did not stop him from being around the family. He still had lunch with Todd, went golfing with Chase, and did everything else. So losing Nic was like losing a son to him, and it was extremely difficult. It seems as though Todd Chrisley did not want to talk about Nic's death because it was hard on him. However, he knew he needed to for fans and for Nic. They were still close even when he and Savannah were not together. Nic still showed up for the family and did not let that go away once he and Savannah broke up. His death was hard on the Chrisleys, and he will forever be missed by them. What do you think about this? Do you feel bad for Todd? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. Todd Chrisley is once again opening his heart to the public, this time about a loss that has left his family reeling. The former reality television star, who has faced an extraordinary amount of challenges over the past few years, is speaking out for the first time in depth about the death of Nic Kerdiles, Savannah Chrisley's former fiance. Kerdiles' sudden passing stunned both fans and the Chrisley family. And now Todd is offering raw honesty about the pain, the grief, and the lasting impact of losing someone so young and so deeply connected to his family. Nic Kerdiles was more than just a name to those who watched the Chrisleys' journey unfold on their reality series. He was at one point considered part of the family, someone who not only captured Savannah's heart, but also found his way into the tight-knit circle Todd had built around his children. Their engagement was celebrated publicly, and even when Savannah and Nic made the difficult decision to part ways romantically, there was a sense that the love and respect remained strong. This made the tragic news of his death even more heartbreaking, as it felt like a piece of the family's history had been ripped away. For Todd Chrisley, speaking about Nic now is not just about honoring his memory, but also about showing the world that grief is complicated and painful in ways that words can barely express. From prison, where Todd has been serving his sentence, his communication with the outside world has been limited. Yet when it comes to matters of the heart and his children, he has never shied away from finding a way to speak his truth. His remarks about Nic's death come from a place of vulnerability, fatherly love, and deep empathy for his daughter Savannah, who has had to bear the loss while already juggling the immense responsibility of raising her younger siblings in the absence of her parents. In his heartfelt words, Todd described Nic as someone who brought light and joy not just to Savannah, but to all who were fortunate enough to know him. He shared that Nic had an infectious energy, a kindness that radiated through even the darkest times, and a resilience that made him stand out. Todd admitted that when Savannah first introduced Nic to the family, he worried as any protective father would. But over time he grew to admire Nic's strength, his dedication to his career, and his loyalty to Savannah. That admiration did not fade with their breakup, and Todd says he always saw Nic as part of their extended family. Todd's pain also comes from the helplessness he feels watching his daughter go through such a devastating loss without being able to hold her hand through it. He acknowledged the cruel irony of being separated from his family during moments when they need him most, describing it as a wound that deepens each day. As he spoke about Nic, he also spoke about Savannah, praising her courage, her grace, and her ability to shoulder responsibilities that would crush many people her age. He said that Nic's death has left a scar on Savannah's heart, one that he knows time will never fully heal. The Chrisley family has endured many public hardships, from legal battles to prison sentences to the pressures of living their lives under constant scrutiny. Yet this tragedy has brought with it a different kind of spotlight, one that Todd is using to urge people to appreciate the fleeting nature of life. He thought about how quickly things can change, how joy can turn to sorrow, and how important it is to appreciate loved ones while we can. Todd explained that Nic's passing has forced him to look inward even more, confronting his own regrets and missed opportunities. Fans of the Chrisleys have poured out messages of support for Savannah and her family since Nic's passing, and Todd made sure to acknowledge this outpouring of love. He said that the compassion from strangers has been a source of comfort, reminding his family that even in the darkest of days, kindness can shine through. Still, he admitted that no amount of sympathy can erase the pain, describing grief as a storm that cannot be controlled, only weathered. Todd also spoke about Nic's legacy, urging fans and followers not to remember him solely for the tragedy of his passing, but for the joy he brought to others. He encouraged people to look at Nic as an example of perseverance, a man who chased his dreams in professional hockey, who dared to reinvent himself in new careers, and who always carried himself with dignity. Todd's words painted a picture of Nic as more than a public figure or Savannah's ex-fiance, but as a human being with a life full of triumphs, struggles, and love. As painful as this moment is, Todd believes there is a responsibility in sharing these truths. He said that silence would feel like a disservice to Nic's memory and to the countless families who have also faced unexpected loss. He opened up about the importance of allowing men, in particular, to express grief without shame or restraint, emphasizing that strength is not in hiding one's emotions, but in embracing them. His message resonated with many who have followed his journey, as Todd has often been portrayed as strong-willed and outspoken. Yet here he shows the depths of his vulnerability. Looking ahead, Todd expressed hope that his family will find ways to honor Nic that go beyond words. While details remain private, he mentioned the possibility of initiatives that could keep Nic's memory alive, while also offering support to others experiencing loss. For Todd, keeping Nic's legacy alive means ensuring that his name is not just attached to sadness, but also to inspiration and love. Ultimately, Todd Chrisley's remarks on Nic Kerdiles' death are more than a father mourning his daughter's former fiancé. They are the reflections of a man who has been stripped of many freedoms, faced countless personal battles, and yet continues to hold on to love as the guiding force in his life. His pain is palpable, his words heavy with sorrow, but they are also filled with a determination to make sure that Nic is never forgotten. In speaking out, Todd reminds us all that grief does not follow rules, that family is defined by bonds that sometimes transcend titles or relationships, and that love remains the only thing that truly endures even when life itself ends. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.